The Marvel Comics Solarman debuted in 1989, but the character was originally created in the late 1970s by David Oliphant and Deborah Kalman for Pendulum Press. Years later, Marvel Comics writer-editor Stan Lee and then Marvel president Jim Galton contacted Oliphant with the suggestion of publishing a Solarman comic book through Marvel. They created a new version of Solarman as teenager Ben Tucker, who aspires to be a comic book artist, and whose adversary is an alien warlord named Gormaga Kral. Solarman was not a hit by any stretch of the imagination. The comic series only lasted 2 issues. However, for some reason in 1992, a 22-minute animated Solarman pilot was produced, based on the Marvel Comics version. Mad About Superheroes presents Retro Cartoon Review, Solarman. Aboard a giant star cruiser, Krull uses the solar ray, draining a nearby sun of its energy, having devastating results on the surrounding planets.
My compliments, Dr. Shahan. You have served me well. Each sun I destroy, each planet I shatter, helps fill my power pods. I shall have power enough to conquer the universe.
Scientist Dr. Shahan, assisted by Altara, betrays Krull and decides to intercept his intended next target, Earth's sun. In an escape jet, Shahan flees, with Earth's only hope of survival against Krull, the power circlet. But Krull, overzealous in his determination to exact vengeance on any who betray him, seemingly destroys Shahan's jet in a blaze of laser fire.
Shahan's genius gave me my weapon, but he outlived his usefulness.
Upon learning the power circlet was in Shahan's possession at the time of his demise, Krull sends robot scouts to search and recover the circlet. The scouts deduce that it may have fallen to Earth and set a course for the home world of young Ben Tucker. The aspiring comic artist is at odds with his overbearing father, who projects his own ideas of masculinity onto his son. Though Ben would much rather be at his drawing board creating comics, he pretends to have been working out when his father enters his room.
Glad to see you exercising instead of wasting time drawing those comics. Just keep it up and you'll make the team yet.
Yeah, Dad. 204, 205.
Reports of Dr. Shahan's demise were greatly exaggerated, and his jet crashes into a nearby beach. Ben rushes to investigate. Though bystanders refuse to help the mortally injured Dr. Shahan, Ben runs to his side to aid the alien scientist.
Mister, what's wrong? You don't look so good. I'll get a doctor.
There is no time.
Shahan views Ben's selfless deed as an act of one worthy to wield the power circlet and gifts it to him. This scenario seems influenced by DC Comics' Green Lantern. A puzzled Ben races to get Shahan medical attention, but he is quickly whisked back home by his disbelieving father. Ben notices Shahan's body vanish, Obi-Wan style. Later, Shahan appears like a Force ghost and fills Ben in on the threat of Gormaga Kral.
It's you! You're alive!
Not quite, young Earthling.
Are you a ghost?
I am Dr. Shahan, but there is no time to talk of me. Your planet Earth is in the gravest danger. A giant battle cruiser is about to drain the energy from that fiery ball you call the sun. And when the sun dies, the Earth will die as well. In order to stop him, I fled, taking the only weapon strong enough to defeat the evil warlord. The bracelet I gave you at the pier.
But why me?
Because only you cared enough to help me. Only you are worthy to possess the awesome power of Solarman. Keep all I've told you a secret.
Wait! What does the circlet do? How do I work it?
When the sun strikes the circlet, you must press the symbol.
Eventually, robot scouts track the circlet to Ben's location and attack. Ben exposes the circlet to the sunlight, and presto, he transforms into a bigger, stronger superhero alter ego of Solarman.
What a sight.
I've become a hunk. Fantabulous. Whoa, I can even fly. Uh-oh, I almost forgot about them.
The first round goes to Solarman as he easily destroys the robots.
Sorry, guys, that's the brakes.
But the robots unexpectedly reform. Ben is taken by surprise and is unable to activate the power circuit. He's taken to Kroll's Star Cruiser. When the robots inform their master that the circuit cannot be removed from Ben's arm, Kroll has a shocking solution to their dilemma.
You cannot remove the circlet from his arm. The answer is simple. Remove the arm.
Lucky for Ben, Altara comes to his rescue.
I warned you. They're only stunned. There's no time to lose. Follow me.
They manage to momentarily get away from the robot forces, but Altara is wounded in the process. When Ben asks why she'd help a complete stranger, Altara informs Ben that Shahan was her father. Ben is attacked by robot tentacles, but manages to transform once again into Solarman, and he makes short work of the tentacles.
You're not fighting a kid anymore. Zingo! I ought to be pitching for the Dodgers.
He makes friends with a robo-droid and heads out for a final showdown with Kroll.
Energizer!
Now the Earth is doomed.
During the fight, Kroll punches a hole in the wall of the Star Cruiser. Solarman swoops out into space and uses the power circuit to attract the blast from the solar ray towards him, and uses his own incredible strength to divert the destructive energy from Earth's sun. He pushes the ray back towards its source and destroys Kroll's Star Cruiser.
You've merely won the first skirmish, Solarman. The circlet of power will be mine.
But Kroll manages to get away in a solo cruiser and declares,
When you least expect it, Solarman, when you are most vulnerable, Gormaga will be back.
The Solarman pilot seems to take its visual style from Jim Mooney's art in the debut issue of the Solarman comic book, and the cartoon's teleplay is a direct adaptation of Stan Lee's story from the comic. Though the Solarman cartoon was never picked up to a full series, it would have been interesting to see if the series would have incorporated other superheroes and villains from the Marvel Universe. Alas, much like the comic book getting cancelled after a mere 2 issues, a cartoon series wasn't meant to be. I picked up the first issue of Solarman when it appeared on comic book stands back in 1989. It was an easy sell, as I was already a fan of Mike Zeck, who provided the cover art, and when flipping through it, I recognized Jim Mooney's art from the Marvel Thundercats comics I'd collected, and I couldn't wait to read a brand new story by Stan Lee. Unfortunately, Solarman is way too derivative of other popular media, especially Star Wars, which is understandable. Star Wars is a highly influential film. Tens of other films, TV shows, cartoons, and comic books were influenced by Star Wars. The aforementioned Thundercats uses the Force Ghost idea with the Thundercats' mentor Jaga. However, there is much more originality in Thundercats than there is in Solarman. Ben's a kid that transforms into a superhero alter ego, much like Shazam. He looks a lot like Marvel's Firelord or DC's Firestorm. He has solar power, a lot like DC's Starman. And he has a Robo-Droid sidekick, another Star Wars influence. All that said, Stan Lee is a legend, and has co-created so many iconic Marvel superheroes, he gets a pass for writing a by-the-numbers story for Solarman. Unfortunately, Marvel's version of Solarman wasn't around long enough to possibly develop into something other than a Star Wars clone. Despite its flaws, and as corny as it is, Solarman is still a fun comic and cartoon that I enjoy revisiting from time to time. Thanks for joining me for this retro cartoon review, and as always, thanks for letting your geek flag fly with Mad About Superheroes.